And wouldn't you know, we're heading into the weekend once again. Happy Labor Day weekend, at least to people in North America. I know it's Labor Day weekend in Canada and in the United States. I don't know if that's like a global Labor Day weekend or if that differs country to country, but to everybody in North America, at the very least, happy Labor Day weekend. Summer, of course, starting now to wind down as we're going to be soon heading into the autumn, and I'm excited today. I'm excited because we're getting a chance to kind of round out my look at the Wave 3 Kingdom Deluxes with this guy. It, of course, is Scorponok, Beast War Scorponok, but the thing that has me excited is that we're going to look at him in comparison to this guy. This is my custom painted original Beast War Scorponok. Scorponok versus Scorponok, baby. That's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True Review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. If you right there are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, you can always hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member, baby. And this is the new Kingdom Scorponok. And the more I saw of this guy, the less impressed I was. There was a lot of problems with this guy, and I've been saying all along that, yeah, I'm going to keep my original Beast War Scorponok, and I'm going to tell you now, I'm keeping my original Beast War Scorponok. But that's not necessarily to say that this guy isn't good, and that's not necessarily to say that this guy doesn't also have a place in the collection. I'll explain as we go through, but without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this lad. And so today we kind of round out my look at the Wave 3 Kingdom Deluxes. The only one I haven't looked at is Wheeljack. I looked at him back as a part of Earthrise, so I don't feel a need to kind of revisit that. It's the exact same thing. We've already looked at Trax, we've already looked at Wingfinger, so this is going to be Scorponok, who was probably the most, for me anyway, I don't want to say controversial, but the most iffy, and there are things here that did really indeed surprise me. Now, speaking of Wheeljack, I did look at him in episode 674, and I actually looked at an upgrade set for him provided to us by our buddy Joe. In episode 824, it was the Go Better Studio upgrade kit, and it really does add a lot to Wheeljack. So there's those two. But this is going to be all about Scorponok and how he compares to the original Beast Wars, my original custom Beast Wars Scorponok. But before we get to any of that, you know what we got to do? We got to look at that packaging first. And it is typical Kingdom packaging. We have Scorponok down here in his Scorpion mode, over here in this alt mode. Looking very Scorponok-like. The average typical imagery over there, and the product images, of course, on the back. It is your typical Kingdom packaging, baby. Our classic collector card this time around is the Autobot Arc. And I say Autobot Arc because when you pull down the thing for Arc, we get Autobot Arc. And we have ourselves some big Kingdom instructions. Actually, these are pretty good. They're bright, they're clear, they're relatively large for this relatively small deluxe. I like them. Molded in gray, painted in red, the double missiles. And that's the little, what is it, a bee, I think? That goes in the other claw. Again, molded in gray. The eyes are painted red. I love the purple on the wings. Looks really cool, man. And of course, they go in his two-hand claws. On the one over on this side, his left. We have the B. The one that's closest to me over here is where we have the double, missile thing. Now, I've heard that they aren't interchangeable, that they need to go into the correct claws if you want the claws to close all the way correctly. Are these claws going to close all the way? Well, let's check it out. That one does. That one does. Yeah, I guess I put them in correctly. Now, of course, the big elephant in the room is this. This is what a lot of people have been asking me about. A lot of people are curious here. Look, I've been saying for a while that I think that the original Scorponok is probably the kind of better offering because it is bigger, because it is extremely solid, because it's kind of a proven track record. I get that. However, I've also said with a certain caveat a couple of things. One, the regular original Beast Wars release was anything but animation accurate. Mine is highly customized. Two, while I do have the B claw and the kind of dual-barreled claw, this particular copy actually has two of the dual-barreled claw. One of them provided to me by Bacon from T-Formers. Cannot thank him enough for kind of helping make this an ideal Scorponok custom. Now, if you want to see a little bit more of the depth to this custom and what the B-Claw was like, you certainly can. That was in episode 515 a long time ago. I expected there to be a larger size difference. Now, there is definitely more heft on this guy. But I expected there to be a larger size difference because everything that I've seen so far indicates that the new Kingdom Scorponok is extremely tiny. I mean, here he is with something that is a more recent deluxe. Earthrise Ratchet. So he is smaller, so I expected that he was going to be pretty egregious. I figured, oh man, he's not going to be a deluxe, and I'm going to have to rate this guy over the golds. But then we get to the story of mass, and this guy comes in surprisingly at 74 grams of plastic. Now, just to put that in perspective, as I've said many times before, a traditional deluxe was about 84 grams of plastic. The Voyager, and I'm using that term loosely, Studio Series Hot Rod was 77 grams of plastic, and something like Siege Reflector was 72 grams of plastic. And then you got something like Kingdom Black Arachnia, who's only 38. I don't think she's a deluxe at all. So this guy actually, shockingly, does fall barely into the range of what a deluxe kind of is in the modern era. I still think he's a little too small for a deluxe, but you know what? Considering something like a Legends, or Core nowadays, is, I'll say 35 grams or much less, 20 to 35 grams, it depends if we're talking about Legends or Core, then yes, this guy is most definitely about double that, a little more than double that. He is definitely not a Legends or a Core class. He's definitely closest to a deluxe, and that's obviously why he was put in there. So, the few grams we're missing, do we get that made up in other areas, in other ways of having value? Maybe. Now, we all know that during the Kingdom series, the Scorponoks were kind of like army builders, which I thought was an interesting take on it. But for me, of course, my reference is going to be the original Beast Wars, and that's what I want this guy, obviously, to homage, as many people will. Not everyone. Some people will certainly defer to the Kingdom series, but in which case, this is a 10. But in terms of the original, how close is this to the original animation? Actually, pretty darn close. Now, admittedly, the tail piece up right here, instead of being what it is here, in the original animation was just a flat spike, I guess we'll call it. The purple is basically where it should be, though. The grayish color is basically where it should be. Instead of a yellow here in the center of his tummy, we should have a red. The head being purple with the gold, head crest and fangs, I guess we'll call it. That's right. The golden eyes, I wish they were red as well. The gold on his forearms makes sense. The purple makes sense. You have the two missiles over here, the being the other one. His lower pelvis is a little bit of a different shade of gray, which is a nice touch because it wasn't the original animation as well, and it is on my custom. The upper legs are gray as they should be. The lower legs, I don't know if they were a gray or like a bluish gray type of color, along with the purple. So the purple down there might be a little bit off, but honestly, there's no mistaking that this is Scorponok, whether you're measuring him by Kingdom or whether you're measuring him by Beast Wars. I'm going to say it's a solid 9. I'm going to say that this is a solid 9 for Scorponok. It really does kind of capture him nicely. So, yeah, 9, good start. What about the articulation for the guy? Oh, by the way, I'll also mention the texture that's on his claws and on his body and on his shoulders. I love. There's some extra value for you because they've in the mold, they put in a lot of extra texture. I like that. Now, unfortunately, that also brings us to another little elephant in the room that I'll mention before I do the articulation. And Starscream wife was appalled by this. And she usually doesn't care, but she was appalled by all of this open space back here and in the back of the legs. She was liking this guy. She saw that open space and immediately said, I don't like it. I like the original. So she's not somebody who cares. She's not a Transformers collector. She really kind of doesn't have a dog in the fight, so to speak. And she doesn't usually notice things like hollowness. She just doesn't care. She did notice it on the forearms of Origin's Bumblebee, but she really noticed it here and it really put her off. It hasn't put me off so much, I don't care, but I totally understand if it puts you off. So, just turning him back around here. The articulation. So we have this that can go forward and back. It only goes back that far, but the whole thing can go back. It doesn't go side to side or anything. Little disappointing. This is on a ball joint, so it can go, I guess, all the way around if you want. It can go up and it can come down and sting and do stingy things. The shoulders, they go all the way around, out to the side. Elbow to 90 degrees. Wrist rotation, the claws, they open and close. Do we have a waist? I feel like we do. We have a waist. We have a waist wiggle. If you unlock some things, you can probably get more to that waist, to be honest with you. I probably have some stuff pushed down there a bit. Yeah, like if I push his tail up a little bit, you can get more. I thought that there was a waist there. You can definitely get more of a waist. A little cumbersome, but it's there. Leg all the way forward. Leg can go pretty far back. Thigh swivel, that's cool. Really deep. See if I can get that out of the way. Really, really deep knee, so I really dig that and like it. We have an ankle tilt that's super deep as well. And feet can go forward, really. About everything that you could probably want, honestly. You know, I mean, he doesn't have kind of sensibly colored hands. Anyway, by the way, I guess I'll talk about this now too, because why not? We got it here. The legs here on the back, I've heard a lot of people kind of complain about these. The ones that are two legs cross over each other, I get the other ones down, and then the last ones at the very bottom, I have them come up on the side and up over like this. I don't know, I find it works for me. It's do what you want with the legs, really. Some people have also said that they find that the legs have a cheap like feel to the plastic, like a KO feel to the plastic. I shockingly don't find that. Now, you know me, if you've been around here at all, you know me, I'm a hypercritical guy. I don't really find that. I do find that some of the ball joints aren't toleranced the best and they feel a little loose, but it doesn't feel like KO quality to me. I don't know. It just feels like red plastic to me. I'm gonna say for the articulation, again, I'm gonna say it's about a 9. Like, I could do pretty much what I want with it. So a 9, the guy's pretty much a 9 so far, objectively speaking. And like I said, he had more mass than I thought he was going to. He has more molding than I thought he was going to. He has decent articulation. I'll give credit where credit is due. He still feels small for the price point, don't get me wrong. But, you know, and a lot of people point this out to me. When I talk about the mass, a lot of people say, yeah, it's not about the height or the weight anymore. I agree. It's not about the height and the weight. It's about the mass. It's about the molded in detail. And it's about how well it functions. That's exactly what it's about. Let's look at how well this guy functions in terms of the transformation. So, and again, I'm kind of doing this like off the cuff, so we'll see how this goes. We bring this down, and we can bring these legs here on the back down, and then fold these out, and fold these out, and fold this out, and fold that out. That's kind of the back mostly done. The arms here, I'm going to bring them up and kind of out to the side at the moment, and up, sort of out to the side at the moment, because it's just sort of the easiest way to handle it. Then we need to, oh, by the way, with the head, I didn't mention this with articulation. It goes left and right, and it can kind of look up, not really down. It's on a ball joint, but I don't feel like there's a super ton amount of clearance for it. To open the chest, you put the head up, and then you should be able to, if you can get the leverage, there you go. You should be able to just open the chest. It doesn't open all the way, only that far, and then the head kind of pushes down in there. Not all the way down, just down around that far. Then we come here and we have to get this head out, and I find I can't really do it, so what I've gotten into doing is popping a leg off of the ball peg, using the edge of it in here. Of course, now it doesn't want to do it, but using the edge of it in here, if I can do it, I use it to kind of pop this head out. It usually works, but why it's not working there at the moment, I don't know. But I don't find I can flip the head out any other way. That is an oversight. Like, there should have been something back here to make that easier. I'm gonna get that head out and then we'll go on. There, finally, got that out. This is not fun. I don't think this is well designed, to be honest with you. We take the shoulders and they come really all the way up. Take this shoulder, it comes, say, all the way up, and then we sort of rotate the claws the way we want them to be. Turn the claw like that, and then we can kind of bring that down over. Get these legs up here out of the way. Now we come down here to this lower body section, and there's like a double hinge in here, and you pop it down like that, and then you should be able to pop it up this way, I think. And we fold up a toe and fold up this foot thusly. We turn the waist this way and the legs this way and this way. This whole section is going to come up. There's a little hole up in the tail that this heel spur should fit into. I might need to actually turn it around this way at the hip. My mistake. And we bring this up over, bring the tail down, and we sort of feed this leg up until we're able to get that heel spur to go into the little slot that's there, if I can do it. Why is that not going in that slot? I don't know. There. Whew. This little tab here, basically. And then this leg basically goes up and sort of folds in on itself up underneath with these scorpion legs coming down. That toe goes in, and boom, in the end, here you have Scorponok in his scorpion mode. And here we have both Scorponoks in their scorpion modes, and I'm not gonna lie, the Kingdom one does definitely look more like a scorpion than this one does. As a matter of fact, Starscream Wife has always called the original Crabdicon, and then when she saw the alt mode, she was like, oh, scorpion, never mind. Because the claws on this guy always seem more crab-like than scorpion-like, and I get it. I kind of agree with her. I do love the size of this tail, and of course we had the whole spring-loaded, like the whole spring-loaded gimmick here. I can't even remember how this works now. Like that, right? We had the whole stinging spring-loaded gimmick. We don't have that on the new one, but like, I'm not a gimmick guy, so I don't really care about that. The purple's obviously different. I don't know, it's a fine alt mode for the new one. The transformation definitely has some fiddly aspects to it. So what are those fiddly aspects? One, I don't like having to get something to kind of flip out the head of the scorpion, and I don't feel comfortable doing it, if I'm quite honest with you. I wish that there was, I don't know, something that it felt like you should hold on to it to flip it out, and maybe there is, but it's not working for me. I've transformed this guy multiple times now, and I always need to use something to kind of flip the head out, a pencil or a pen or spludger, is that what it's called? Or one of the scorpion legs. The legs do feel somewhat loose. I don't think the plastic feels KO plastic-ish, but they do feel on my copy a little bit loose. They're not going to fall off on their own or anything, but it is what it is. The tail, I wish that there was a hinge somehow here to make this flail or twist more than it does. It has decent mobility, but it's all forward and backward, kind of not to the side or rotating or anything, except for the very tip. Or if there is, I can't get it to. And honestly, it makes sense because you have that whole leg kind of filling up the back part, open part of the tail. I don't like trying to feed that little tab in through the hole in the tail, nor do I like trying to take it back out to put them back in robot mode. And with the way the waist is, with the double hinge, when you're going back in robot mode, you might have to fiddle with it a little bit, because if it's not perfectly right, then the two chest tabs won't close. I'm going to say that the transformation, honestly, is about, it's about an 8. It's all right, but it got a couple of niggling things that are just nuisances. Overall, I'd say the guy's about at 8.25, 8.5. It's a good Scorponok. Bit small. And it's definitely 100% not going to be for everybody. But if you're into the Kingdom line and you've been happy with it so far, I think this guy will be just fine for you. For me, my final take is, if you don't have an animation accurate Scorponok, this is a great, affordable way to go compared to what some of the other things that have been offered are. Like, there's a Legends one, but that's kind of expensive for a Legends. It's a third-party thing. Looks beautiful, by the way. But this is a good way to go for an animation accurate Scorponok. Do I think it beats the original? Not for me, but of course mine is highly customized. If it wasn't, and it didn't look like the animation, I think I would be gushing over this guy even more than I am. He is surprisingly good to me. Not perfect, got a couple of weaknesses, but he is a surprisingly good Scorponok, coming in at an overall 8.5. And here we are once again, and here he is, and really here he is. This guy's great. Like, this is the original. It still stands up. It has heft. It has bulk. Mine, like I said, a bunch of times that was custom painted, and that paint has held up quite well over the years. I'm very happy with this. Like, if we had never gotten another Scorponok, I'd be happy with this. However, I would not be happy with that if I did not do the custom work. I would always be thinking to myself, yeah, but it doesn't look like the show. This looks like the show, and you don't have to worry really about kind of scraping custom paint and stuff off. Some of the criticisms that other people have had, I understand. The hollowness. Starscream wife really bothered by the hollowness on the back of the legs, and especially the tail. It really threw her for a loop. It doesn't bother me, but I understand why it would bother people. The legs, the red plastic doesn't feel KO to me, though a lot of people have said that it does. The ball joints do feel a little loose-ish to me. Nothing's going to fall off. Everything's on there solid enough, but it's just not hard to pop them off if you're so inclined. I like the look of the guy. I'm surprised he was as many grams of plastic that he is. I think that all of the textured, molded in detail adds value. I think the massive paint, there's a lot of paint here. All the gold, for example, is paint. A lot of, I feel like on the accessories, a lot of that is paint. His head is all paint. Like, there's a lot of texture and paint here, so I respect that. The engineering is interesting. A lot of the magic happens in the waist. I wish that the tail had a little bit more movement than it does. I wish the transformation was a little smoother than it is. Like, just a tab to get the head of the Scorpion mode out would have been nice. And if there's one there, I'm just not able to catch it with my limited articulation of fingernails myself. I like it, but it's not perfect. I wouldn't say it's the best of Kingdom. I wouldn't say it's the worst of Kingdom. It is exceedingly middle of the road. Now, I said at the very beginning that I'm keeping the original, and I am, but there might be a place for this guy. I almost feel like we could have a couple of this guy, and maybe the role that he has as, like, an army builder could work with my Beast Wars collection. Maybe two of these guys could flank the actual Scorponok as, like, Scorponok drones. That might work for me. I like him more than I thought I was going to, and I think that says a lot. Let me know what you think about Kingdom Beast Force Scorponok. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member while you're at it. Hit the subscribe button, baby. Stick around, have some fun with us. Don't forget that somehow, someway, each and every single day, you right there, yes, you right there, you do make a difference, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.